ignore that. Anyway, so hi everyone. This is a little different of a live stream that I'm doing here. I was trying to film this, and I was just like, no, you know what? This is just better talking on a live stream. Um, so something I kind of want to talk about actually is, and I've been reminiscing about this a lot lately, is the growing up in the early 2000s because I did like. For reference, I was born in 1996. If people don't know, I am 29 years old, and I like reminisce about it a decent bit now, and it might just be because of like the seasonal depression and stuff like that, and thinking about how good we had stuff in the past and blah blah blah. blah at some point we all kind of will reminisce about the past and how good things could have like were to a certain degree. But what's sad is like this new generation will not experience what we experienced back then. So, like as an example of Blockbuster, right? Blockbuster was the best thing ever. Cause like explaining Blockbuster to like this generation, they don't understand it right properly. Of they don't realize like how amazing it was to be able to rent movies and video games and even gaming consoles. That's a thing of the past. Um, and I remember like our first gaming console. Not that I actually remember playing it, but I do remember the console to a certain degree. Is the Sega Genesis. You know, um, and again, the Sega Genesis, their second to last console. Their last console was the Sega Saturn. And I mean, imagine Sega making game consoles, right? They don't do that anymore. Um, but yeah, like every I don't know, I mean, it was every like couple of weeks maybe that we would go out and go to Blockbuster and rent a couple of games. Like I would rent one, my brother would rent one, and maybe we would rent a movie or something like that. That's kind of funny that you got a Sega Saturn before a Genesis, because that's backwards. Like, but mind you, I mean, I don't know how old you are, to be fair. Like, I don't know if you're younger than me or if you're older than me, but um, that is interesting. But yeah, like going back to like Blockbuster, it was awesome because also like in um in Blockbuster, being able to like rent stuff was just wild, you know, to be able to do that. And then not only do that, but then while you're there, they had microwave popcorn that you could buy. Okay, so we grew up in the same era then. Um you're 2 years older than I am. So and like they had and I remember it was Act 2 popcorn, which you can still get actually, but it was such a prevalent thing of Walmart of Blockbuster. But then what was fun is even like and that reminds me too. Walmart, right? Um they had a aquatic section. You could get fish at Walmart. Does anybody remember that? Like, and that's a wild thing to think about because now Walmart is just just groceries. That's it. You know, uh, getting fish at Walmart that's a thing of the past, right? And now actually trying to get fish anywhere that's kind of a difficult thing. Like, um, that is a very difficult thing. And I remember like they actually had in the Walmart they had on the south side of Lethbridge they had this tank that you could actually pet rays. They were like I don't know. They were like a small sort of ray. I don't know what type of ray they were, but you could actually pet them. It was pretty cool to be able to do that in a freaking Walmart, right? Like that's wild. Um, that is sad. Camrose Walmart doesn't sell CDs. That is sad. My Walmart still does out in Olds. You can get CDs out there still. But I mean, and like that sort of stuff is going by the wayside. Of having, um, like, of CDs, right? It's sad, honestly, because like that was another thing as well of growing up in that sort of time and remembering like my mom, she always liked sound systems and like she had a big subwoofer in her neon that she owned, and this subwoofer and whatever else and like just that the horrible vibrations. I remember we liked it as kids, but now I think it's stupid. And like the styling for cars and whatever else. And I'm not necessarily talking about the styling that they came out of the factory with. No. I'm talking about the mods. My mom did a full-on racer, and it was hilarious to think about it now because like back then that was cool, right? It was super cool to have a vehicle with neon lights and with tribal graphics going down the side. Like, and I remember I helped my mom install those tribal graphics on the car. I remember that. And it was pretty funny actually to do that. And we thought it was so cool as kids. Now that's just something tacky and stupid. But again, it was of the time period, right? And also, I got a kitty. There's a kitty behind my head too, but I got a kitty. Um, which that's awesome, honestly. You still have your Discman. I mean, mine might still be around. It's hard to say. I had a Discman too. And I remember like of even like how oh that's sad. But even like remembering of well, even so like the 2000s was the last time that you could have like traditional parenting. And what I'm getting with that is, hey, kick you out of the house and you're gone until the streetlights come on. That was a thing. And like there was a couple times where my mom would just kick us out of the house and then we'd just come back, you know, in like 6 or 7 hours. You know, and without a care in the world. Nobody had a cell phone. Like cell phones were starting to become a thing, but they weren't really that big yet. Not until about like 2007, 2008, you know, when smartphones started to become a thing. That's when you started to see phones everywhere. And like when the Razor came out, the Motorola Razor was the hot shit, especially if you got a hot pink one. Like that was the best phone out there. Everybody wanted one. I remember looking at that phone and went, "That is so cool. I kind of want one." I remember it, and it's just like I said, it's just sad that kids won't get to experience that stuff. Like I actually remember that. Speaking of like having like no supervision, going out and again, no cell phone, riding my bike to school. I did that. Like sometimes in the like late spring and whatever else. Yeah, we'd coordinate it with friends of ours. There was along the way to go to school, and we would do it. I'd leave my house at like 6 in the morning, and it would take me like 2 hours basically to bike all the way downtown after stopping at like a buddy's house, along the way. And that is just one of those deals. And let's take a look at your CD player here. Oh, that is mint. I love it. I love it. And yeah, actually, that does kind of look like an E30. You're not wrong. It does. And I know that's just some random, like, sort of generated thing. But that's the thing. Like, computer generation wasn't a thing. They had to actually make that, right? And it's cool. It's cool. Like, we didn't rely on, like, a ton of technology back then either, which is kind of nice. Like, granted, I love being able to, like, make content for y'all. And I get a dopamine hit every single time I see that, oh, somebody's commented, or, oh, somebody's liking my videos. TikTok's better for that, just because I get way more engagement on there than YouTube. But that's because that's how TikTok is designed. And, like, it doesn't tell you, like, who's liked your videos or anything like that on here, right? It just you'll just look and see, hey, look, that's how many it has. But like I love seeing, the view counter go up and stuff like that. Like I said, it's a dopamine hit, 100%. But we didn't have that back then. Like I remember like some of the best online sort of services, like you know, because like chat rooms aren't really a thing anymore, right? Like you have like groups and whatever else on like Messenger and stuff, but it's not the same as like MSN Messenger chats, and having the group chats in there was just so awesome, so awesome. Um, like I had an MSN account for a little while. I mean, I was probably too young to have an MSN account, but I did. And because all it was just like a chat room, and you would talk to like random people, and and like you'd have no idea. And some of these people, who knows? There's probably a lot of pedophiles on there. To be honest, I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked at all. But it is just one of those things. And with us, like we didn't know. There wasn't like online safety courses or anything like that. It was a crash course. And I remember like when we started to get computers in schools, and like our homeroom classroom got computers. That was incredible. It's like, holy crap, we got computers? Yo, that's cool. And them try to figure out all the security stuff, and they couldn't figure out how to, do the security stuff and whatever else like that. It was kind of funny because we could go to any website you wanted, right? It was pretty neat, like to think about that in schools, because now like they block so many different websites, but like back then they didn't know what websites to block and whatnot. So like there was websites called, like as an example, one of the best websites ever, Newgrounds. If anybody remembers Newgrounds, that was like the greatest for, they had flash games, you know and there was like Thing 2 and like Stickman and Bomb to Base and all that different stuff. They were such good games. Such good games. Exactly, right? Like there was stuff like that. And like, and tricking your friends with stuff on the internet, because I don't think you can do that anymore. Like tricking people to search up like blue waffle as an example, which don't ever search that up. It's the most awful thing. I've never searched it up because I knew better. But like so many things. Yep, and actually Miniclip was good as well. And then Miniclip actually ended converging with the Newgrounds, I believe, in the end. So you got the Miniclip games on Newgrounds, you know? And I remember like, and I brought RuneScape to the school. I remember that because I started playing RuneScape with my brothers, and then we did that for a while, and it was great, honestly. Like, yep, that was another one. Penn Island, God, and all this stuff, and like, and it is funny, even like some of the trends, like as an example. So like right now, right, what is the big thing right now with kids, the 6-7 thing, which I don't understand it. I don't think I ever will understand it, and it's fine. It's whatever. But like back then, like we had, well, our big thing was, hey, grabbing our two hands, going like this to our, like pointing towards, our groin, and that basically meant suck it, right? That was our thing, to be disrespectful to people, right? And it's just a different thing, But again, also, and I don't know who's more disrespectful between us or this generation. It's hard to say. And yes, Charlie the Unicorn was like the greatest thing of all time, And like in our brain rot stuff was so much better than the shit now. Oh my god, like again, Charlie Unicorn, Chocolate Rain, the Ninja Guy, Sneezing Panda. Oh, fantastic! Fred. Does anyone remember Fred? That was like one of the greatest things of all time growing up was Fred. He was great. And like Vine. Oh, Vine was the most fantastic thing to ever happen. It was great. You know? Like, but Fred was fantastic. See, and here's the thing. We attempted to do jackass stunts too. You never had the bandwidth to watch Fred? Oof, that's rough. We did. Like when we got internet, I remember that, and we actually got pretty decent internet in Lethbridge, surprisingly. I don't know how, but we did. It was still dial-up, but the dial-up was better there. But I think the reason why the dial-up was better there, it's because there wasn't as many phone lines in Lethbridge, and I think that's what did it. Because I do remember, like, if you were in a city but it didn't have a big population, I remember your internet was actually better than the bigger cities. Now that's flopped. The bigger cities have way better internet than the smaller cities do. Now that is sad. I didn't know that, and that's sad. Or like, hell, you know, like, and how many of those people like were like that? So as an example, so like there's like Fred, right, that went crazy, which I didn't even know that. But then, as an example, like afterwards, so does anybody remember Dave's Farm? And we thought how cool that was, you know, on the internet of basically, you know, you'd sign a waiver, and this dude out in Ontario would let you, you know, like you sign a waiver, pay some money, and you'd be able to like jump cars or like crash them and whatever else. Like, and he'd video it all and put it on his YouTube channel. Turns out he was a pedophile though. So there's that. Sad, very sad. You know, it's like childhood hero. Oh, he's a pedophile. Damn. Like, and that happens a lot. Like, you look at a lot of the creators, and turns out, yeah, a lot of them are pedophiles. You know? Sad. Sad. But that's how it goes. That's how it goes. And, you know, like, oh, yeah, I think he's still around, to be honest, but... Oh, okay, I'm thinking of somebody else then. But, yeah, like I said, they're all pedophiles. Sad. And you know, like, even, so... but even, like, how expensive or inexpensive stuff was back then. Like, I remember, as an example, going to school, and my parents gave me $5 every day to go get lunch. And the thing is, $5, I'd actually get change from that. So I remember going to school, getting $5, and going to 7-Eleven or going to Esso for lunch, or even going to Burger King when I lived in Lethbridge. You know, and you do that like every day for school, right? And then, but I remember like saving up money and then going to get KFC for lunch one day. It's not a thing anymore. Like, stuff is so expensive now. It's sad. Sad. Oh, it does. Like, and inflation gets stupid. And I mean, like, inflation also, like, pre-COVID compared to now is nuts. So, like, COVID did a lot of damage to inflation. Oh my god. But, yeah. This is true. It was. And, like, you could actually, like, afford shit. Like, hell. I remember when they brought out the Ram Classic. You know, when they called it, or sorry, not the Classic, the, what the hell was that package called on the Ram? Where basically it was just a base model Ram, you know? And when they came out with it, like, it had no options. It was a single cab short box, roll-up windows, no AC, nothing. Didn't have a Hemi in it, though. Two-wheel drive. And it was 20 grand. You know, like, good luck trying to get that truck for 20 grand nowadays. Work trucks are fucking 50 grand nowadays. It's nuts. Now, I love that you say 2000 LMAO. You were born in 73. I have no idea what I'm dribbling about. No, okay, the difference is... So here's the thing. You guys went through hyperinflation in the 70s. Yes, you did. Like, every year, basically, prices of stuff would, like, just about double. Right? This is true. And, no, it wasn't a Dakota. It was a Ram. It was a Dodge Ram. Back when they were actually called a Dodge Ram. You know? But, yeah. Like, it was a thing. Like I said, it was a Hemi single cab short box. You know? With no options in it. And this was, like, around 2008 or so. Right? And it was awesome. Like, I remember seeing that. It was cool. And even, like, and again, like, the 2000s was kind of an awesome time because, like, technology started to boom then, right? Like, but yet, it wasn't fully taking over everything yet. And it took a while. Like, it really did take a while for technology to get hold of everything. Like, it was probably... I want to say it took about 12 years properly for things to, you know, like, having a flat screen TV, as an example. Which, like, I remember the first time I saw one. It was at my, aunt and uncle's place, you know, which, like, my Uncle Paul and Auntie Beth at the time, which, unfortunately, my Auntie Beth, she passed away from breast cancer in 2007. So I don't really remember her all that well. Or actually, I think it was 2000. No, I think it was like 2006, 2005. I know she passed away the same summer as my grandfather did. But regardless, like, it's one of those things. But being there. And I remember playing Tony Hawk on, like, this big 50-inch freaking TV. And, like, back then, a 50-inch was ginormous. And bear in mind, like, they had money, right? My uncle was a lawyer, so, you know. And then my aunt was a dentist, right? So, like, they had money. And so, like, they could, you know, hit it up. And, yeah, like, it was a rear projection TV, right? And... like, because the thing is, a 50-inch TV now doesn't look big, right? Because, to be fair, it's not. Like, overall size of the screen is big, but the actual TV is rather small. It's pretty thin. You know, and, like, those rear projection TVs were fucking massive. Like, that TV was probably 300 or 400 pounds. You know, that's how ridiculously heavy they were. How big they were. And, like, and something else... Now, and again, this is something that'll probably never be uttered by anybody in history, and me and my dad might be the only people that have ever done this. So, when, like, I was living out in Coaldale at the time, my dad lived in Lethbridge, and every weekend we'd go to my dad's house, right? This was, like, from 2007 to about 2010 that we'd be doing this. And my brother was playing... We had two PS3s, right? And we'd bring both the PS3s out to my dad's house and do that. Or that may have been PS2. Actually, I think that was PS2, not PS3. Correction. Where me and my dad hooked up the PS2 to a little 10 or maybe 12 inch. I have it in my shed. It's a portable TV from the 70s, right? It's an RCA with a rotary dial on the side with 32 channels. Fancy TV back in the day, but nothing now. Just kind of a cool sort of thing to have around. And we played split screen Guitar Hero on that. Can't say that anymore. Nobody's gonna do that. Like, you try and play games on something that small? That seems insane, right? But we did it. We did it. It was kind of fun, actually. And Like we had a bunk bed at my dad's house, so like I was sitting on the top bunk, my dad was sitting on the bottom bunk, and we were playing the game. It was great. And like I mean, I have some PS2 games, but not that many. Like I have Juice, Test Drive, I have Need for Speed, Hot Pursuit 2, I have the Jack games. I'm pretty sure. I have Underground 2, I have Most Wanted. That's basically it. But like, and what was nice though is being able to like rent a game, okay, and then coming home from school, playing it for a few hours, and actually being able to like beat the game within the week when you rented it from any of these video rental stores. Because again, you can only rent games for a week, otherwise there was a late penalty, right? So, and it was like $5 to rent a game. It was great, and it's sad, sad. I really wish that people could experience that again, and even like the style. Oh God, yeah, like, and like the anti-cheating measures that we used so that nobody would screen peek was hilarious, honestly. They never worked, but it was funny. It was like, taping cardboard to your TV, right, in the middle of the game, or being able to like we'd use like blankets and shit like that, but uh it was a different time, man. It was great. It was great. I miss it. I do. I do miss how it was back then. And like, and that's the thing. And not seeing, because again, the stupidity existed back then. Like, you were talking about as an example with like recreating Jackass scenes, whatever else, but nothing was actually like, hey, filmed that much. We did that shit, but it wasn't filmed. Because I remember we from the grocery store, like we stole a shopping cart from our local Safeway. That Safeway is long shut down, so it doesn't even matter anymore. But and we rode with our bikes with a shopping cart all the way out to the Coolies in Lethbridge, and I remember like hopping in it, and they pushed me down one of the Coolies and rode down it. I don't know how the hell I didn't get severely injured or potentially killed doing that, but I survived, and it was great. I wasn't hurt at all doing that, and like we thought like, yeah, Jackass, it was fun. um right, there wasn't like, but also nobody had cameras. Like if you had a phone with a camera, that was insane, right? And like anything that was filmed was genuinely on a freaking camera, that like you'd have on like a tripod or something like that, because there was no such thing as stabilization back then, you know. Exactly. Like we had one, My parents would film like my soccer games and stuff like that I had with it. Still have it. It's in my dad's room actually, and it's pretty wild, honestly. Yeah, like and digital again. Like my dad, I remember when my dad bought a digital camera, you know. Um, but and also like, so here's the thing. I know they make like small little mini digital cameras, but can you still do the film cameras, with the disposable canisters and stuff like that you can actually like go out and print? Like, do they still make those? They probably do. But like I remember actually my dad, it was one of his most fun things to do, is he'd give each of us one of those, and he'd actually see what the pictures we would like take with it. And a lot of them were crap because we were children, but there's some of them that actually came up pretty good. And my dad still has some of those photos around somewhere. Probably still have a lot of those like, actual like film canisters and stuff for that. So it was just cool. So cool. you know? And it's just even like, and You know what was awesome though back then? Being able to identify cars. Don't get me wrong, you can still kind of do that, but cars were actually like unique back then. You know, like one of the best car brands of all time, Scion. Everybody forgets about Scion, but they became a subsidiary of Toyota in I think like 2006, 2007, something like that. And they made some really cool cars. They were purposely built for elder millennials to buy and modify. That was the entire point of Scion when they first came out. You know? And it was, you know, just kind of cool. Um and and Scion, like I said, it was neat. You know, like they had the TC, they had the XB, and then they ended up their last vehicle being the FRS. I think they only ever had 3 models, if I'm not mistaken. And that's true. Like, I mean, trim models existed, but what was really funny as an example, like I remember with like Dodges and you could honestly fully load a vehicle without getting the top trim. Like you could have the exact same options and everything. But you didn't need like you could. Oh, I forgot about the IQ. That's right. That little smart car thing. They weren't actually a smart car, but they kind of look like one. Which one of my most favorite fun facts of all time is so back in about 2013, uh, Aston Martin needed to. They wanted to lower their overall emissions of the brand. So what did they do? They partnered with Scion and they made the Aston Martin Signet, which is genuinely just a Scion IQ with an Aston Martin grill in it. It's fucking hilarious to see that car. And like it is the weirdest effing collaboration you will ever think of. And it's like it's shit like that of growing up in the 2000s and whatever else, and seeing shit like that made no effing sense. Because a lot of stuff made no sense back then, but it was fun. Nobody knew what they were doing, right? that picture of Rascal's great. That's this little shithead right here. It's sleeping above my head. I've also got one on my lap too that's sleeping. But yeah, it's just god, you know, and stuff that is just like completely gone by the wayside now. Like I remember out in Kelowna, there was a uh what the hell was that place called? It was something Farms out in Kelowna. And it was genuinely like, hey, it was like a sort of petting zoo. But then there was also like rides there, and it was like a theme park. It's kind of neat, but they died out a long time ago, and it's sad. But like a lot of like technology and being able to like watch stuff, whatever else at home, really did affect a lot of that shit. It did. Oh yeah, I have seen the show actually. It's great, you know, and that's the thing. And even like Twisted Metal, one of the greatest games of all time. Another thing that was kind of like, don't get me wrong, born in the 90s, but had their biggest hit in the 2000s. Twisted Metal Black. One of the greatest games of all time. The story was amazing on that too. Yeah, that's true. His car is a WRX. It's a Hawkeye WRX. Um I'm just trying to think of other things back then. And and what was the thing then versus now of having like everybody wanted like a sound system for their home, right? And which is not a thing anymore. Like now you just get a sound system and it's whatever. But back then it was a badge of honor, you know. And having a stack, because I know you would remember this, like right beside your home theater system, which usually had like a 6 disc freaking changer in it too back then. Again, not a thing anymore, but a thing back then. Um, and you'd have a stack full of a bunch of CDs. Like they would hold like well over 100 CDs. It was so cool. It was so cool. That's cool. I remember having one of those. Like my mom bought it and we used it a bit and it was a lot of fun, but then I ended up breaking. It was an RCA unit. And that was the thing of like how much can you, it was all like about excess back then, right? And like, you know, how big of a stereo system could you have? How many CDs could you have? It was just kind of a cooler time, you know? It's not a thing anymore. It's just sad. Everything's like on your phone. Both in the house and the garage. Mint. Mint. Ah. Seriously? Oh, that's wild. That is nostalgia and a half. Those things were fucking everywhere too. Like everybody had a flame one. Everybody did. Nobody had a regular one. No, why would they have that? But like, and also distracted driving wasn't a thing, which is weird. Like, because now, yes, you get a ticket for being on your phone. Back then, oh fuck, we would have like a big fucking book that would hold like 10 CDs per thing, and you couldn't see the road as you're going down the road, and as you're like trying to find a CD to put in. My mom did that. I remember that. Like different time, man. Different time. More dangerous to a certain degree. Oh yeah, but also safer in a weird way. More dangerous, but safer. Because again, like, I don't know, idiocy didn't seem to be as widespread as it is now. I mean, I could be wrong on that, and it could have been more widespread back then, but I don't know. Like, it was just fun. Fun. And you have a 70s Vinilio player. That's cool. That's really cool. Oh, you sent another picture in the Discord? Let's take a look at the Discord. That is mint. Okay, so check that puppy out. It's in the Discord right now. Like, that is 100% early 2000s to mid 2000s vibe with that freaking thing. Fuck yeah. I love it. I love it. Like I said, I don't know. I have a lot of nostalgia for then. But like I said, that's when I grew up. So it makes sense. Most people have nostalgia for the time period they grew up in. It's 100% a thing. That's great. Like, jeez. They're, yeah. You know. Also, and it's interesting though too, because like it is nice of how much we didn't rely on technology back then. Like, yes, it existed. Also, hi Kim, how's it going? Nice to see you in the chat. But like smartphones weren't really a thing. Like they became a thing. Like the first smartphone was the iPhone, obviously. That came out in what, 07, I believe. I actually, my very first smartphone, which, and this goes to show you the time, I had a Palm Pre, which I think was the second to last device I ever made for Palm. And Palm was like on top of the world when they came out with the Palm Pilot back in like 2002, 2003. And Palm was like the shit for the longest time. Like you couldn't get better than that, unless you were a businessman and you got a Crackberry. Other than that, that was, again, like Blackberries aren't a thing anymore. Like I think I don't know if the company's still around or not, but like I don't know if they make anything. You know, right? Well, and it's interesting. So like, and the thing is, like, obviously, like OLED and LED and stuff like that, they look better, but there is something to be said about watching any of the old stuff. If you watch, as an example, like if you hook up a VCR to your nice OLED TV and you try and watch a VHS tape, it's gonna look like shit. It looks freaking terrible on an LED. But you put it on the TV that it was designed for, and they look fantastic, honestly. Like, everything looks great. So it's just kind of sad. But then also, like, this is a fun Easter egg, too. I don't know what all games would do this, but, like, on the PS2, especially, um, you could put a PS2 game into a CD drive, and it would actually play the soundtrack of the video game. Like, it's such a cool little Easter egg that they don't do anymore. Like, I don't know why. They should do that. They should. They should. You have a Nintendo 64 and a CRT. That's amazing. See, like, and actually that would look, and a Nintendo 64 would look a lot better on that. Like, my PS2, don't get me wrong, my PS2 looks fantastic on my LED, but, and I have it through, like, component jacks. That's the thing. Like, my LED TV actually still has component jacks. How amazing is that? Because, again, component jacks are a thing of the past. They're long gone. Everything's HDMI nowadays. Let's see. Let's see your other picture. Yep. That is a blast from the past. There you go. That is a fantastic little TV. It is great. Does a Genesis, a PS3, and an Atari hook up to that TV? How? How do you have that many freaking ports to hook into? Oh, you're from Chile? Nice to see you in the chat there, Mario. It was a pleasure making your acquaintance, and thanks for chatting. It's kind of cool to see the people that are like from different countries and stuff like that hop in here. It's sweet. Ah, that's how you did it. Okay. Because I was like, there's no way in hell you have that many ports on the back of your TV. But even, and something that is kind of neat, actually. So, something that I can actually show y'all, because I have a PS3 controller. It should be like, there it is. There we go. PS3 controller. Sorry, Saber. Didn't mean to wake you, dude. But so on the and it's amazing how small and how lightweight these controllers were too on the PS3. But like PS2 controller is like the same thing. It just has a thing that goes out, but it didn't have the more haptic triggers this way. So that was the nice thing on a PS3 controller. But on the back here, you see where these lights were. So it's like, oh, cool. You could hook up 4 controllers to a system. No. You could hook up 7 controllers to a system at once. And yes, there were some games on the PS3 that you could have 7-player co-op. It's nuts. And when 6-axis came out on this, that was one of the coolest technologies of all time. And it's a gimmick and a half, yeah. But it was kind of cool, and because there was a game called Lair on the PS3. Not a very good game, honestly, and it was very clunky. But I think it was one of the very first games to have 6-axis control. And you were a dragon in that game, and you use the 6-axis to control the dragon. Again, super clunky. It didn't work very well, but it was kind of cool though. And then also, one of the other cool things, again, not a thing anymore. Movie/TV adaptations into video game, right? It's very rare to get that sort of thing adapted into a video game nowadays. It's now it's the other way around, where games are being adapted into like movies and TV shows. But back then you had so many tie-ins. Like I remember playing Reign of Fire on the PS2. Get another great game, and also underrated movie too. Reign of Fire, very underrated movie. If you've never watched it, go watch it. It's great. Man, Batman Forever. Fuck. And again, like, and everything had a movie tie-in. For games, it was great. It was great. Or like one of the greatest things of all time. So if anybody's ever played on the PS2, either Fellowship of the Ring, Two Towers, or Return of the King, all three of them did this, and it was pretty funny. And again, also all three of those games, most fantastic games like to ever exist, and they should remaster all three of them on one disc, sell it for like $70. We would all chew it up and buy it immediately, because yes, that deserves to be remastered, all three of them as one disc. But what was really fun though about that is, so like they had some of the scenes for the movie in the game, right? And they had like the cutscenes from the movie. And then when they would do, hey, look, and one of the funniest ones was, it was Gimli's face, right? As they're going to the mines of Moria. And you'd see, oh, look, it's looking so great. It's like him on DVD, and all of a sudden it just goes to like polygon and it's like squish. It was the most funniest thing. I remember like laughing so hard at that as a kid, because I didn't, and also like being questioning of like, why did they do that? Like, why could they get the graphics to look like that in the game? Me not realizing that that was like impossible at the time, and how much space it would take. But, and like your entire childhood could be on a memory card that's about yay big, and it's only 8 megabytes. Megabytes! Not even gigabytes. Megabytes. Well, see, like doing a marathon of like a Harry Potter marathon is a challenge. And then now, here's the interesting thing though, is if you actually not only do a marathon of the Harry Potter movies, but then do the Fantastic Beasts stuff, which is like the prequel stuff on top of it. See, I don't know which ones I actually have. I have a few of them. And I might actually have one or two of them on VHS. Ooh. Which I think I still have a VHS player somewhere around here. I might. I don't know where it is, but I think I still have one. And like that's the thing, finding a VHS player nowadays, because that was how we, did media, is VHS for a while until DVDs came out. Then that changed to DVDs. Yeah, it gets very convoluted doing that. Yep. Don't I know it? But then, and there's something about even like seeing movies back then, of all the movies that were coming out, right? And especially like when the MCU started to do their thing in 2009 and up, how much better they were. Like seeing all the Marvel, movies and whatever else now, comparatively to back then, fuck. Nothing hits more than like the first Avengers movie, right? See, and I'm not like a huge Harry Potter fan either. Like I do like it, but I'm not like, my bestie is like obsessed with Harry Potter. Um, so that's why every time that it pops up in my feed of the Harry Potter pals, I always tag her in it on Facebook. Always. Because Harry Potter pals is one of the greatest things of all time. Yeah, of course you did it for The Simpsons. Why am I not shocked? Why am I not shocked? um, and again, it's some of the shitpost things like we were talking about, like Charlie the Unicorn, Harry Potter pals, all that different stuff. Feel more like events. I mean, they were back then, right? Like when they started doing them in 2009, yeah. Because here's the thing. Now we had DVD players because we actually had a little bit of money growing up, like not a ton, but we did have some money. And so like I had a DVD player in my room. Like that's just fucking amazing. I had a VHS player and a DVD player, remember? And then like every night, um, it's kind of funny because like I'd watch, uh, so you're somebody that I think because like you're similar to me in this way, where because I have a feeling you might like bad movies. You know, you had a DVD player and a PS2. Nice. I mean, I had a PS2 in my room once we got a second PS2. I did. It was great. Like I had my own TV. It was fantastic. But like, um, you love bad movies? Okay. Have you ever heard of a movie called Stealth? Like, have you ever heard of that movie? Because that was my favorite childhood movie. I would watch it every night. It's such a terrible movie, but I watched it every night and I loved it as a kid. I haven't watched it as an adult, and I'd be curious to see. Oh, so the premise of the movie is like it is. So Stealth is like, oh god, how do I describe it? Uh there is this like AI like airplane. It kind of looks like an F-35, but or like an F-22, I should say, but it's not quite. And like the CGI in it's kind of terrible, whatever else. I think it had the woman like from Fantastic Four that played the Invisible Woman, like in the first one. I think she was in it. And like there's a whole like war sequence, whatever else with it. You might remember the poster? Like again, I have the movie somewhere around here. I'd have to see if I can find it. Because I'd want to rewatch it just to see if like how terrible actually was that movie. See, I never watched The Sopranos. I've been meaning to watch it. I never have. Also, and I might get shot for this. I've never watched Breaking Bad either. Um, I'm currently finishing up a binge though of House. House MD, one of the greatest shows of all time. I don't care what everybody says. It's like the one of my favorite shows ever. Um, and yeah, like, and even, and it's interesting of like, so nowadays, like a lot of the TV shows like get canceled after a couple of seasons. Plus, not only that, but we get like hardly any episodes, right? Like, so as an example, and I can give this as a great example. So, Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is my greatest, like, that's my most favorite show of all time. Even though the MCU has retconned that whole show and it pisses me right off. But regardless, I love that show. Season 1 had 24 episodes. Season 2 had 21 episodes. Season 3 had 23, 24. Going all the way up to I think it was 7 or 8 seasons of the show. The very last season had 8 episodes. Like, huh? Why? Because it was in that time period where they started to do like really short seasons for some dumb reason. Um, I don't get it. Like, you can make it so much better. So much better. You could flesh out the stories a lot better with more episodes, but no. Can't do that anymore. Yeah. Yeah, and like I've been meaning to eventually watch Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. I've wanted to, just haven't, done it yet. But it's even like the quality of TV shows, because like like some of the best TV shows, like growing up, like The Simpsons was great, obviously. You had like we watched King of the Hill a lot, and some of the other shows too that we watched. Like it was better. I don't know. I don't know. And that might be nostalgia goggles, to be fair. I've watched the El Camino movie, and I was confused because I never watched Breaking Bad, so there's that. Like, it was stupid. I shouldn't have watched that movie before I watched Breaking Bad, but I did. So a little confusing, but I don't know about Still Great. I mean, I know you love it. It's like your favorite show of all time. I get that, but The Simpsons scrapes the bottom of the barrel. Like, a lot. A lot. I've seen some of the more modern Simpsons. It's like, oh, it's 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 amazing that they're still alive. Like, genuinely, and they can still write stories. Because the one thing is that there's not just bad episodes. There's like bad seasons, man. You know. See, I'm not a big Family Guy person. Like, I watched Family Guy a bit growing up, but not so much now. Uh, but also, like, one of the greatest channels on TV was Spike. Does anybody remember Spike TV before that got axed and killed? Every season has at least one good episode. Yeah, okay. So I gotta go through a bunch of crap just to get one good episode. Got you. You unfortunately remember Spike TV? Oh, come on. It was the greatest thing of all time. God, it was such a terrible channel. Well, I'm Canadian, and like we watch Spike. We had the channel, to be fair, and the thing is, yes, it was absolutely terrible TV. But you got some of the weirdest shows on there, kind of fun shows anyway. Like A Million Ways to Die, as an example, that was on that channel. Um, and then But does anybody like so? Okay, so clearly Goku didn't have the channel, but Ryan did. Do you remember the commercial that they ran for like years for Spike? To where they had like the sexy girl kind of going like this in a bikini, and then they had like a car doing a burnout and a bunch of guns shooting off and whatever else. Like, do you remember that commercial at all? Because I have a funny story about that commercial, if you remember it. Um, and I think it was like the commercial they used for the longest time. Okay, well, that commercial, and like, and you wonder like, why did Spike die? Because some of their shows actually weren't that bad and whatever else, and they were actually pretty popular. Yeah, I remember me and my brother were watching Spike, and that you know channel, they showed that same commercial 13 times in a row. I am not kidding. It was maybe like a 20 or 30-second ad, maybe. And yeah, 13 times. Because, like, it was funny. Me and my brother were watching it in his room. And then it's like it plays, and it's like, okay, whatever. We're not really paying that close of attention. And then, like, we would notice, wait, it plays again. And it plays again and again. So we just started counting it. It was 13. It's like, you wonder why they sank themselves. Yeah, because they weren't actually advertising shit. Yeah, it did. And it was just like so funny to see that. Where they didn't just like, throw in some of the other ads for like, a quarter of the price or whatever else, just put their own fucking ad. It was great. But even like Speed Channel was fantastic. And also, like a lot of people don't seem to remember Speed as fondly as I do, which is weird because Speed Channel, okay? You could watch the entirety of the 24-hour of Le Mans. No ad breaks whatsoever. Live on Speed TV. 24-hour Nürburgring was also there. 24-hour Sebring was also there. Like, so cool. It's not a surprise that Speed finally died after a long time because they did shit like that. But it was so amazing. Like, I miss them. And, like, and some of the fun shows that, Speed died off on. There was a show on Speed Channel that was called Are You Faster Than a Redneck? And basically, all these rednecks would have, like, big built V8 cars, and they would race these tuner cars around the racetrack, like around the road course. And if you could beat the rednecks, you'd win like a Hoosier tire package and like $5,000 or something like that. Kind of a fun sort of premise of a show. But like shit like that just doesn't exist anymore, and it's sad. But hey, no worries there, Ryan. As always, it's an absolute pleasure to chat with you. I hope you have a fantastic sleep. To be honest, I'm thinking about heading to bed soon myself. Because after all, past 5 a.m. Still haven't been to bed yet. So, and yeah, and Pink's was also fantastic too. Like, I mean, there was a lot of bullshit on Pink's, but it was great. You know what's interesting? So, like, Speed has been revived somewhat as a channel from Discovery, and they've been playing Monster Garage on TV again. Fun fact. Me and my dad watched a couple episodes like about a month ago, and it was just like, whoa. And all the automotive shows, like there was a shit ton of automotive shows. They were everywhere, you know. Like obviously you had Chip Foose's show, overhauling for a long time. Stacey David's Gears. You had Pinks. You had Pinks All Out. You had Are You Faster Than a Redneck? It was great. It's great. And a 600 horsepower Subi, that's a lot of power for a Subaru. It is. It is. Yes. But actually, so yeah, I am super duper tired now, or at least like it's finally starting to hit me where I'm tired. So I think I might go to bed fairly soon here. So just so you know. And I will absolutely love cars, like a lot. My dad likes cars too, not to the same extent as I do. Like, cars are my life, 100%. Where him, it's just like he likes them, right? And that's kind of the difference between me and him. And like, there is something as an example, like he is in my Mustang right now, and I'm so sad that my Mustang isn't here. That's okay. Like that is okally dokally. And sorry, just getting tired. But what's interesting though is my dad never really had anything cool when I was growing up. Like The coolest car my dad had, which I didn't appreciate it at the time. I like him now, but back then I didn't care. He had like a 72 ish, 73 maybe, or no, a little later than that, like 75. Um, Volvo 240 wagon, cool car. He had plans on doing like a small block Chevy swap in it, right? Never ended up doing that. He kept it stock, and then eventually it got a bunch of electrical issues, then died one day. Then he was able to get it going again, then it died one day. Then he was able to get it going again, then it died. And then he couldn't get it going again, so then it just stayed dead. And we used that as a also it wasn't a V5, it was an inland 5. But yeah, they did. Um but that thing was just like a tank, and when it died, it got towed back to the house where we lived, and me and my brother and like our friends would play in it all the time. You know, that was our like sort of play area for I don't know about 8 months. I could still remember the smells in that thing. Like I remember how it smelled to this day. And there is nothing quite like it. Like, so here's the thing. When it came to like that thing, because like I've been in a bunch of old cars, right? And like a bunch of old American cars and whatever else. But there's something about that Volvo and how it smelled. Like it had a very musty smell, don't get me wrong. But it just smelled different. It was kind of cool. Yeah, like there's a smell to old cars definitely, but like that one just had a unique smell, and I can't really describe it all that well. Like again, it was musty, but like at the same time, it had like this certain aroma that, like I said, was unique to it. Because then again, I've experienced a shit ton of old cars and whatever else, in the junkyard, in other people's collections, owning them myself. You know, um, it's pretty fascinating. Well, my kitty cat is he's dreaming pretty hard. He's twitching and all this stuff. What are you chasing there, Saber? Eh? What are you chasing in your dreams? Are you swear you know this as well? I mean, you might. Honestly, you might. I wouldn't be overly shocked. Okay. And, oh, why is my phone going dark? Oh, my phone is going dark because it is at 5%. So I'm going to end the stream right away here, but I'm going to show you my kitty though before I end the stream. So, oh, I got the cover over my camera. Hang on. Here he is. So this is Saber, where your kitty is 15. He's 27. And you can just see him. I say he's sleeping right now. Oh, he twitched his tail. See, there you go. You can see the twitches. This is Saber. And like I said, he's 27. Yeah, he's in very deep sleep, which, like, I don't want to wake him up, but I want to go to bed. But it might just be a, hey, I am sleeping on my chair tonight sort of thing because he's sleeping on my lap right now. So, yeah. But before my phone dies here, because it's at 3% now, I appreciate everybody hopping into live. Like, it was such a fun chat, to be honest. And like I said, just reminiscing was great. And And I haven't been live in a few days on YouTube, so I figured I'd give you guys some love. And yeah, he's had a very long and good life. Like I've had him since I was 4. He was 2 years old, so yeah. My hair has not dyed. No, this is my natural hair color. So yeah, but before this dies, um, eh, 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 I'm gonna quickly plug in my phone here, but I am gonna end the stream just so that it doesn't discharge or anything like that. So, anyways, but yeah, like this is my natural hair color. So, some people think it's dyed, but it's not. I haven't had any hair work done in years. Like I haven't had a haircut in a long time. It's been like 9 years since I had a haircut for reference. But yeah, anyways, have a good rest of your day, everybody. If you need to go to work, then have fun at work. Have a good sleep if you haven't been to sleep yet. And I'll chat at y'all later. Peace out.